just chatting Motivation Monday today. It's been a day, so I'm gonna like share a few different things with you guys today, which means that it might be a little bit longer, but that's okay. So the first thing, this is like pre-lunch, right? So my first two Motivation Mondays were like on point, sweet. I mean, they went smoothly, right? And like with you guys, this class is fantastic. It always goes just like super smooth. You guys always give like very insightful feedback, and so I know that you guys are getting something out of it. But man, my fourth period, not everybody like is ready to like hear these kinds of things and like really like reflect, right? Like self-reflection, I think, is a very like mature thing to do, and I think that it takes a little while for people to be ready to get there, and I'm hopeful that like along the way like you guys get there. But man, like I had a few like groups that just like were like not having it, not ready for Motivation Monday, and so. But then I also have like it's like 50-50 split, right? Where it's like truthfully like 50% of the class like eyes are like just full on me, and then like or eyes are like fully on each other and talking. And so like I'm trying to like, all right, cool. I'll just elevate my voice. I project my voice just fine. But then like as a result of me projecting my voice, like they start talking louder. And I'm like, so then I feel like I'm being redundant because I'm like not able to focus. And then I just like was like, guys. And so what I want to like, the biggest like takeaway from like that experience is I just want you guys to know that the reason that I do this is just I care so much about you guys. And I recognize like I am very much this way that like I give you guys like I give people like in the world, right, like benefit of the doubt that if you've never heard a perspective that's other than the way that you currently think, then how would I expect you to think any differently, or how would anybody in the world expect you to think any differently, right? And so like that I believe that like that is the way that I think. And so what I do as a response to that is, okay, well then, let me provide some perspectives that I, kind of just acquire in my own life, or whatever I, see as being pertinent in your guys' lives, right? Like last week we talked about finals. The week before, like we talked about what can we learn from school and apply it to our lives, and it's treating you guys as like more than just students who are going to absorb content and then walk out of my door and never see me again, right? Like. Those are the kinds of interactions that I want to have with you guys. And so it comes from like this place of like me just caring so much about you guys, and like what I feel is like my responsibility as like being somebody to like influence your lives before like I said, before you roll out. And so one of the things that I reflected on, I was like, maybe I haven't done a good job like articulating like how much I care. Or like maybe that's something that like I've been missing, because like it makes an abundance of sense if like if you guys have never heard this before, like nobody cares what you know until they know that you care. Okay. Have you guys heard that before? Okay, well then let me say it again, because I think it's a good one, right? Like if you want to be somebody who helps like move people forward, or even if you don't, right? Like no, if you do in some capacity, right? Like being a teacher, whatever. Like nobody cares what you know. You can know a whole bunch of stuff, but until like you resonate with people and they like know that you care about them, they're not gonna want to like take in whatever it is that you have to give them. So like there is this portion of like developing a relationship that is so incredibly important with regard to just sharing your knowledge, sharing what you know. I mean, unless like no, I mean I don't know. I mean I think that at some level, like, people have to believe that before they're going to, like, take information from you and apply it to their lives or apply it to their way of thinking. So I had that conversation, and and because we have this Motivation Monday and then the last Motivation Monday, I just wanted to take the time to, like, share that with you guys, because it made me realize, like, like, to some degree, I haven't made that as clear as, like, I needed to. So today's topic, what like I anticipated talking about today, is just positive influence, okay? And so with positive influence, like what do you guys think of? Like if you have a positive influence in your life, what does that consist of? Yawns, cool. No, truly. It's the end of the day. I get it. We need extra oxygen. We've been using it already. Positive influence. What do we think about? What do we think about?
Somebody who pushes us to be the best version of ourselves.
Okay, so somebody who's in your life pushes you to be the best version of yourself. All right, cool. What else? See, I think there's a whole bunch of different things.
They add instead of subtracting.
They add to your life instead of subtracting. Okay. So I think there's a couple different things. There's a few different things that like directions that I go with like positive influence. Okay, and it has to do with like types, like what we qualify as positive. Okay, and then the source. So what do we qualify as positive? Well, okay, so things that matter to us, okay? What Micah says, things that are going to add value to us. So, like, for example, right, if I aspire to be somebody who's high energy, right, and draws your attention based on my energy level, well then, a positive influence. A positive influence would be somebody who exudes that characteristic, right, and kind of paves a path. So, for example, right, okay, let me give you guys a fun example. I think that if this ever reached him, he would appreciate it. But okay, if you guys we watch Khan Academy, right? You guys are kind of not excited about it, okay? What's the reason for that?
His voice is so boring.
He's boring, right? So okay, if I identify, hey, this is boring, so that I probably, now content-wise, right, if I want to share good content, I would watch that video. Absolutely. He is an excellent educator. But if I'm going to learn about energy level, right, I might watch somebody who's Gary Vee, who's Sterling Griffin, people who I currently pay attention to, because their energy level is crazy high, it's engaging, and I also wish to embody that characteristic. So I would go to those resources for something like that, okay? So characteristics, right? Funny. If you engage because you're funny, watch people who engage other people because they're funny, right? That's going to be those are going to be positive influences. Or, right, if it's not watching, it's listening to, so it can be I talked about sources, right? There's multiple sources. There's digital, okay, so internet, TV, whatever. Or there's in person, right? In person, human interaction. And so I would then identify if you can find people or resources that embody the characteristics that you wish to embody, and they can come from multiple places, right? Multiple sources are going to resonate with different people. Some sources aren't going to resonate with you at all, right? Realistically, it was very obvious to me that I do not resonate with a lot of my fourth period kids, right? That's fine. I mean, I'm super hopeful that, I told you, I hope they have sources in their life and, they can draw positivity or whatever's good for them. But, I know that, anyway, so characteristics. But the other big component, the other big thing that I would also talk about then, for, positive influence, are people who have already, gotten where you want to go, right? So, if I desire to be successful in, business, right, then I'm going to pay attention to entrepreneurs who have already created successful businesses and try to glean from them as much as possible, right? If I had people in my life who were incredibly successful, I would want to surround myself by those people. That would make a lot of sense. So being intentional with taking in positivity from your resources or from your physical, who's around you, right, your environment, or just online sources. And I would advocate to surround yourself with that the most consistently. So for example, I was talking about I take 10 to 20 minutes every day to I just call it my take in the good time, right? A lot of times it's on the treadmill and taking in the good. Cool, great, wonderful. But I mean, so into how I'm spending my time, it's intentional spending my time. I could easily turn on Jersey Shore to run on the treadmill too, right? Because I have Wi-Fi and it's great, run on the treadmill. However, okay, that's not really adding a whole lot to my life, right? Like Micah says, probably subtracting from my life. And so just being intentional, and I'm not saying don't ever be entertained. Okay, I'm not saying don't ever watch Jersey Shore if that's your thing or whatever your thing is, right? But what are you doing like most consistently, right? Because that's probably what you are also going to embody. It's what's important to you. It's what you're going to exude. And so just make sure that you are intentional about maintaining, the positive stream coming into your life. Okay. So I also would want to then advocate. So like this, and I was like blown away at like how many people like really this resonated with, because like, so you think about your friend groups, right? And like if you were to like audit your friend groups, okay, like, so I assume, right, this is like an assumption for sure, but like everybody in here has aspirations, has goals, okay? And there's two things that are going to happen with those aspirations and goals. You're going to achieve them or you are not, okay? That's like, end of the day, that's what it's going to be. And so if, right, like if you're here, okay, and your dreams and your aspirations are up here, cool, great, wonderful. If your friends are like down here, and they're like, or even like you really like are kind of down here, but like your dreams and aspirations are way up here, like we're gonna want to like start to navigate that situation and like make sure that you're at least around people who are like at the same level as you with regard to like having goals and aspirations. They don't have to be the same goals and aspirations, but definitely like moving forward, right? Because like and like it was amazing, like I had so many people write this, like your friendships are very much so, or just relationships, right? It could be like romantic relationships, it could be relationships that you maintain with your parents, like whatever it is, like your relationships are going to have an outcome or contribute to the outcome of your future. Because it's gonna absolutely like it's all about mindset, right? It's going to influence your mindset, and if your influenced mindset is not that you can do whatever these dreams and aspirations and your goals are, it's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a lot harder for you to get there, right? Like you're meeting that opposition not only just because of the world, but also because of like who you're influenced by. That's setting yourself up to be on that not category when it comes to like dreams and aspirations. So definitely think about that and recognize the correlation, right? Recognize that there's a correlation, strong correlation between relationships, so that's friendships, relationships with your parents, romantic relationships, whatever that is, and like you being successful in your future. Okay? And then I'm also gonna like leave you guys with this story, because I think this is like an amazing story, and like it happened to me yesterday, and like the fact that I do this with you guys and I like to share with you guys. So yesterday, I'm climbing up the incline, okay, and I meet this lady. Her name is Lisa, and I meet Lisa because she fell down the incline. Okay? Yeah, not an ideal situation. And my father-in-law happened to be there to like catch her, which was like very fortunate. Actually tumbled a few times before like he was able to get to her, but he was able to get to her. And like in my part of like my like personality is to like just to like be there. Like I would have had a really hard time like looking at myself in the mirror come like, after I finished the incline and like realize like I left that person just like on the mountain and had no idea like what happened and didn't ensure that she was okay. So I stayed back and just like made sure she was all right, and then as a result like Alex stayed back and made sure she was all right, which was really good, because this woman has this crazy story where she lost her leg to cancer because she had sarcoma. She's had like 34 different surgeries, I think she said, because they were trying to like keep her from losing her foot, and ultimately like they weren't able to save it. But what got her on the incline, and I appreciate this part, okay? I don't appreciate everything about like this situation, because I would, as a fitness like professional, right? Like you guys know, like that's my other job. Like I would never like advocate for that, and I would have advocated like a million other not a million, but like a few other things, right? Like some training before putting yourself in this situation, because like ultimately like in my logical mind it was dangerous, but like emotionally and like when it comes to mindset, like I love this. Like I truly love this, and like this is like the inspirational like part of all of this is like, so Lisa read a story in the Denver News about this woman who had done the incline, was a double amputee. The reason that she was a double amputee was because she was drugged, and these people left her on the train tracks to die. Train ran over both of her legs, so double, like no legs, and she like got up the incline. which is like a crazy amazing story, right? But like to use that as like your source of inspiration, like what an amazing way to just like have a one positive influence, like let that like propel you forward and like do something. Something as drastic as like the incline on your first try when you've only had the prosthetic on for 8 months. I don't know if I would have done that, right? Like, but like I love like the mindset that she had, and just like in talking to her along the way, like she really did have like this very strong mentality. She was gonna complete that incline, like she was gonna do it herself. But it was amazing, and so like very fortunately, like I was able to like help her achieve that success, which like is very important for me, like with you guys, right? Like ensuring like you guys have success in your futures, being very much so like in my clients, like when I work with them, like it's very important for me to like make sure they have success. Like it was amazing to be a part of like that success, and then also help her down, because that was one thing she didn't think about, which that was an amazing conversation. She's like, oh, I didn't even think about the way down. I was like, yeah, it's 4 miles, so here we go. But I love the mindset. I love the intention. I love the mentality to not be the victim, right? To like see your circumstance and to continue to move forward even when there's adversity. Because truthfully, like in that particular instance, right? Like the stories are typically like people who lose their legs, they choose the wheelchair, they don't want to figure out how to work with the prosthetic. Like, and then they're sedentary, and that's their lives, and that's not inspirational, right? Like, I mean, yeah, I understand. Like, you have just been given a humongous trial by having your legs taken away from you, right? I mean, like, I don't like understand it like physically, but but emotionally and mentally, like I can understand that. But like how you respond is everything, and so we all have like trials, and we have a tendency to focus on the things that are the trials, that are the obstacles, right? Like we focus on those things, but like my encouragement to you and my advice for you guys is like find people to surround yourselves by, find messages to like bring in, okay, like the time to take in the good, and just like be intentional about like hearing those things, because it's gonna have a huge impact on like your choices, and your choices are gonna move you in a direction of like going towards the goals and going towards the aspirations, or not. And you can still have a just fine life if you don't, but like, what do you want? So like really analyze that for yourself and like make some intentional decisions about it, okay? All right, so we are going to I would like you guys to write